Hey, there it is. Hello, everybody. How are you? I see. Hey, Benjamin is also there, my youngest son. Welcome, Benjamin. We won't discuss so much about international business administration, but more about piano. Okay. Yeah. So thanks again for a lot of nice comments and especially also nice suggestions and advice I got from advice, nice suggestions and requests I got for topics for the next few weeks. So I think we have quite a lot of things to discuss. One of the requests was to talk also about modal jazz and pentatonics. So I think today would be a good day for that. Okay, so especially of course also by because of the passing away of McCoy Tyner, I think definitely we should pay some attention to his playing and the modal jazz in general. Okay, so I want to use a few different approaches to play modal jazz. As you know, modal means it's kind of based on the church modes instead of the more functional harmony. Most time, of course, we use like the dorian. So, and for piano players, D dorian is the best because all the white keys. So let's say if we have a tune where we play mainly D dorian. Well, yeah. First of all, actually, we also should say there are also other modes that we can use. There are like some tunes that are more mixolydian, like all blues, and there are also tunes that maybe even have like a phrygian sound or Lydian sound. But for now, let's go for dorian, the most common. Okay, so let's say we have a tune with using a lot of D dorian. I think that's the most famous one. But another one that's nice to practice maybe is also Little Sunflower by Freddie Hubbard. That could be a good one to practice the dorian. And yeah, of course, one that's really nice to practice, and I love to play this one with combos in school, is by McCoy Tyner. Composition by McCoy Tyner. It's called Effendi. And that was interesting about this composition is that the A part is D dorian, and the B part is F sharp dorian. So that's a good thing to practice for us. F sharp dorian or B mixolydian, which is basically the same. Okay, so let's just start with only D dorian, and of course later we can you can practice also other keys. So and the first thing we can do is like see what we can do with the 7 notes of the D dorian scale. So a good thing to practice for actually every scale, but also this D dorian, is dividing the scale in intervals, in triads, in 4 note chords, and then maybe even in like patterns. So one thing good to practice would be maybe first thirds. Fourths, of course, is also cool, especially if we talk about pentatonics later. So that's already kind of going, kind of. Oh, Should the sound be louder? Oh, louder. Wait a minute. I mean, I have any idea how to put louder the sound? Yeah, because I have a new mic I got yesterday, but if it's too soft, we have to adjust it a little bit, I think.
It sounds okay.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sound also okay.
I also hear some
Yeah.
other people say the sound is good, so maybe you can put your speaker a little louder. Okay, thanks. Sorry for the interruption. And we're back. Okay, so practice intervals in scales. So we have the first, the fourths, fifths could also be a possibility. I also like sixths. Okay, so that's already some exercise. This exercise actually learned from Fred Hurst in a masterclass 26 years ago in The Hague, I think. Okay, so now let's practice triads. Yeah, or maybe even. So triads, you could also make huge exercise, like if you add what I just did, if you add like approach notes, or if you add like change the direction. So let's say. And then the same as if you put one more third on top, you have the 4-note chords.
When you took close to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit more to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really some exercises we could do actually on any skill you choose, but in this case, we're now really into the dorian. Okay, so that's already some stuff, and of course, like in some solos, you also hear this material, like. So yeah, definitely practice that kind of material. Then what could be also interesting, later we'll talk about pentatonics, but what could be interesting if you want to play a little bit more outside, or like create like an interesting sound, it's like not only using the notes from the D dorian, but like for instance also using different minor scales. So anyway, good to practice scales. So let's say very good example is Coltrane. He plays on So What, he plays melodic minor. So, you see, because the C sharp really the rest. No. So the C sharp really gives a big different sound than the C. And then maybe let's practice also some other minor possibilities. So how about harmonic? So let's say you start with dorian. The last was a little bit bluesy. Okay. So yeah, so definitely phrygian is also a minor possibility. So let's say So that gives kind of chicoria sound, like kind of Spanish. So especially if you're already the whole time like. So now we have Dorian, melodic minor, and I always have to explain that if we talk in jazz about melodic minor, it's actually only the one ascending. In classical music, the descending one is different. So you have. But that's basically the same as the Aeolian. So let's talk in jazz only about melodic minor ascending. Yeah. Some questions? What kind of voicings do you use in phrygian? Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, it would be nice to accentuate the most important note from phrygian is actually the flat 2. So like if I would play D minor. So that sounds a little weird. So I most time use this voicing. And then maybe also the inversions. Which basically sounds the same as like F7, 9, 13. Okay, that would be a nice voicing. So we have Dorian, melodic minor, harmonic minor, phrygian. What else? What else could be nice? Yeah, maybe even like a little bit more exotic. If you would also use like kind of the the double harmonic. So like. Actually, that kind of sound I heard also, I think, with Yusef Latif on one of the recordings of the work song. And so, like using this actually sharp 4. Now, some other scales that I really like to use in the modal setting, a little bit more advanced, but I'm sure you all can do. So instead of playing the minors I just mentioned, we can also actually use complete different scales. So let's say if we start like with melodic minor, so let's say the voicing would be with 6. Actually, that one works for Dorian also. So if you start the melodic minor from the 6, then you always have the octatonic scale or the diminished scale. So I'll just add the other notes. So that's the scale, the diminished scale, actually from D diminished. Yeah, so let's say you have this first part is really minor, and this part is more like melodic. These are the 2 wrong notes. Uses this one a lot. So I made this lick based upon actually his playing. So what I do is I start inside, then I go to the diminished sound and go back to Dorian. Let's say. I lost it. it's nice to know if actually different sounds in the same line. We have actually the melodic sound, kind of with this, and we have the diminished stuff. And that's dorian. So you could say melodic, diminished, dorian in one line. So maybe also try to make your own lines like that. Let's say start in D dorian. Go to the diminished. Yeah, so that's option number one, is to use the diminished or the octatonic. The next one I really like is to use also the whole tone scale. We talked about a little bit about the whole tone when we talked about rhythm changes. So we play the whole tone scale from the fifth. So you have like. The thing is that there we have to be really, we have to be really careful with the left hand. So if you play, we play like this. So the E is out. So the B is there. And maybe even the major 7. Maybe like G is maybe also cool. So basically you play actually A7 over D minor. Yeah, but with the whole tone sound. I found this one in some recordings of Kenny Kirkland. Actually what he does, he plays a vamp. So maybe you can practice that vamp too. D minor, E flat 7, D minor, E flat 7. Which is actually like a 9 in Tunisia backwards. So let's say. So good to practice, also for your whole tone chops. Okay, the next one. Yeah, I'm going fast because I want to explain everything I know, which is not so much. Okay, but wait a minute. I'll quickly check. Quickly check the chat. Yeah, I think that's all cool. So the next one I want to talk about and want to show you is the using the augmented scale. So augmented, as we know, is actually like if you think of a triad, let's say A plus or A augmented. That's like the triad with the augmented fifth. That sound that you hear also a lot like in Ravel or like Debussy. Also with my favorite tune. It's called Forlane. It's from the suite Le Tombeau de Couperin. And we recorded with my trio with the Metropole strings. There was a commercial. Okay. So yeah, everybody knows Forlane. Good. So we start with the augmented triad. Again of the fifth. So. And basically we play all the chromatic leading notes towards this triad. So let's say. And yeah, going down actually the same note. So we're not going to change the leading notes. Okay. Oh, there's too much commercial payment where the CD is available. Okay, so this is a very kind of exotic scale that I really like this sound. And if we play it from the fifth, then we actually have also the minor third of D. So and this kind of is similar of the. And so it's kind of still using the D minor sound because we have the minor third, but we add a lot of notes that are not in the D dorian for sure. And for the voicing, actually the best works a minor major 7 with a 9. So. And the famous lick, I mean, like in the blues we saw Dr. John had this famous lick. But in augmented, the famous lick, actually, I think Michael Brecker used a lot. It's using the 3 triads. F triad, D flat triad, A triad. That's for the people who want to play everything in tenths. Tenths, not intense, but intense. Okay. So we have already kind of some options to kind of create a outside going sound, but actually still based on the minor scales. Any questions about that? Maybe let's see. No, I think that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. So now we have some possibilities. If we like, let's say, if we have a really long D minor section, maybe let's say like like 8 bars or 16 bars, or maybe even like only D minor. That could also work. That's also cool. Yeah, then now we have to move on to the pentatonics. This already kind of thing that's related to playing modal, but of course the best scale that works best for the modal is for the dorian. Is the pentatonic. So pentatonic is a really nice thing to practice. There are a lot of patterns you can use, and there are also like definitely easy ways to go outside of the key, and it's also cool like to practice patterns like like jumping like in intervals, whole steps up, whole steps down, minor thirds, tritone. I'll explain some of the stuff. Huh? Where you started in dorian, the diminished, and back to dorian. Yeah. So actually, for going to create this outside sound, of course, you can also immediately start with the outside stuff, but I prefer like starting inside, then outside, and then resolving to inside. I think that's really, really cool stuff. So let's say we're going to talk a little bit about the pentatonics. So definitely D dorian. I think we have at least 4 options, but so on the 1, on the 2, and on the 5. Also nice to practice is to combine those 3. Sorry. So we start on the 1 from the 2, then the 5, then the 1. So you see we have like we're going down in fifths. So let's say if you have a pattern in E, so now you're already actually practicing pentatonic, minor pentatonic scale in 3 keys. So let's say as exercise, this may be nice to practice. So thinking about the same thing, but maybe not going in fifths, but in fourths. So you go. So it's like a -7 arpeggio. Yeah. So actually, it's leaving out one of the notes. Maybe you can even add the note back. Yeah. So if you do that as an exercise. And then it's a nice exercise also for the left hand, maybe. Yeah. So the question: how you would play this on a tune? So you mean like with all the different scales, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. Definitely gonna try to show that maybe later when we know a little bit more about the pentatonics. So we saw the minor pentatonic on the 1, the 2, and the 5 in the Dorian scale. But actually, there's one more possibility that I really like. It's like using the minor 6 pentatonic. I think we also mentioned it a little bit on the blues. So you have like instead of the 7, the 6. Oh, sorry. So actually, also sounds a little bit like a D minor 6 chord, with a G added. So nice to practice some patterns like that. Later, I'll also put some patterns that I use a lot. I will put later also on the website for you to practice. Okay, so we have the D minor 7 pentatonic, E minor 7 pentatonic, A minor 7 pentatonic, and the D minor 6 pentatonic. What kind of piano? Yeah, it's a Yamaha C1, GC1 actually, and it needs to be tuned, I think. Okay, so let's say if we concentrate again a little bit more on the pentatonic. So I'll give you some nice patterns that I use to practice, and also we do sometimes with the group lessons in school. So first go, and like the scales of course, but also first go maybe like 1, 3, 2, 4. So. Inserting bigger jumps. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 1, 3, 5. And that's technically also more difficult. Okay. Then the next one I really like that I use a lot is the similar groupings, but going to the closest root. So. So that's an exercise I made for students, but also for myself. I will also put that one on the website. It's called the pentatonic workout. So that's if you practice that one in 12 keys, I think you're busy for the next 3 months. Okay, maybe some question. Functionality. Yeah. That's another thing that definitely we can talk about. So let's say we have like like a little sunflower or like so what. Of course, it's like the whole time D minor, and sometimes people get confused because if you count from the last A, it's actually 24 bars of D minor, and then sometimes that goes wrong with the forms, and people skip the A, put an extra A. So then it can definitely help to create some very clear, like a dominant or like at least very clear chords that's directing you back to the first A. Let's say if you have the last A of so what? So you can use like 5, so A7 altered, or you can use like 2/5, maybe E after minus A7, actually kind of taking away the only modal sound, but also like some functional harmony. But and what the one I just played sounds also cool. It's like the tritone 2/5, like B flat minus 7, E flat 7. So let's say if you sounds a little bit maybe more in the style than the really bebop 2/5. So let's go maybe for A7 altered, or B flat minus 7, E flat 7, or maybe just like again like a chromatic chord, E flat minus 7. So maybe like so like a chromatic approach chord. That would definitely work. Yeah. Yeah, well, that was just the one I just did. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we cycle of fifths by preceding D minor, definitely you can add a 5, but I think if you would add a dominant to the A minor or the E minor, that's maybe too far out. Okay, so let's say if we if we, for instance, do the other way around, like now we're kind of adding functional harmony in a modal tune, but we can also take a tune with functional harmony and modalize it, make it modal. That's also a really cool thing to do. It's like there's a really good example of Softly is in the Morning Sunrise. That this record you really have to hear. It's amazing. It's John Scofield live, and the piano player is Richie Byrek. He plays a really long intro going everywhere except C minor. And then so you can say the tune has a functional harmony. So so we have like 1, 2, 5, 1, 2 for a long time. So you can also make it only in C minor dorian. So like say if you have I think that's what Scofield plays. He plays actually the melody C minor and then A flat minor, so the tritone 2/5. And the same is what I also like is you have some tunes that could have a modal part and then suddenly functional harmony. That's also cool. Like a good example to practice would be, for instance, like a tune like Invitation. Like you have this C minor 6 or C minor dorian. And then back to the E flat minor dorian. And then you get all the 2/5s. So that's a tune to make you really stretch out with your modal chops and going outside. Yeah. So we can say when we have a modal tune, we can add functional harmony. When we have a tune with functional harmony, we can make it modal. What else? Yeah. So if we get into the patterns, like the pentatonic patterns, then next thing we can practice is really cool. Is like to the patterns and transpose them to different steps of the scale, but also like really symmetric. So the tune was invitation. Invitation. The last one, invitation. So let's say if we take one pattern. I like this pattern because you have all the notes from the pentatonic scale very clear in front of you. It could also be like starting with a fourth. So if you have this pattern, one already kind of used is like using the tritone 2/5. So in this case, it would be C minor to A flat minor. Okay, let's practice this. That can be super cool as a kind of 1, 2, 5, 1. Yeah. So let's say. So this pattern, let's stick to this pattern. So now I did the original minor and then the tritone 2. The same pattern we could also practice, for instance, in the real tritone. So C minor 7, F sharp minor 7. So that's the thing actually that McCoy Tyner uses quite often. He plays patterns in the one minor and the tritone. So let's say if we do this in a line. Sounds. I think that's the biggest distance you can go actually from the C. C F sharp is like that's the biggest one. Okay, so same pattern. Let's practice in whole steps up and whole steps down. Let's say, or maybe only. That's maybe easier. So whole steps up and whole steps down works great for pentatonic patterns. Then the next step would be minor thirds. Well, maybe also down, of course. Oh, that's a 5-note grouping. That's also cool. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's a really cool stuff to practice. It sounds sometimes a little bit intellectual, but if you put it maybe in a really nice context, more like melodical context. This pattern, yeah, so definitely you could also apply this pattern, maybe even like on functional harmony. Yeah? So actually, if we already saw, if you use a tritone 2, that can work for a 1/5. If you have this. But if you go like in minor thirds, after 2 minor thirds, you're in the tritone. let's say this one. Could be 2-5-1 in B flat. So let's say if we have a blues in B flat again. Maybe too fast, yeah. But again, it could work on a 2-5-1 actually. Maybe like yeah, maybe like that. Yeah. So pentatonics you can actually also use on really functional tunes. Yeah. Maybe we can also talk about it a little later. Yeah. So somebody asked, there's maybe a little question, a little besides the topic, but where did you study jazz when I was young? Yeah, I studied in Holland in Rotterdam at the Rotterdam Conservatory. But but later I actually learned most by teaching at the Royal Conservatory in The Hague, and later also in Hilversum. It was a really jazz school, and we moved to Amsterdam. Now the Amsterdam Conservatory is, I think, the biggest one. But I also was teaching in Rotterdam for a while, Groningen for 2 years, Tilburg for 2 years. So I saw almost all the conservatories from the inside. How many students do you have? Yeah, I have quite a lot of students. Nowadays I teach 4 days per week. So every day average from 11 to 7. So if I count also the group lessons, and never a dull day. Okay. Major chords in left hand. Fourth. Yeah, so that's also a good thing. Nice that you mentioned it. Of course, if we use the pentatonics and to create like a little bit this McCoy Tyner sound, of course, the nicest is to combine them with the fourth chords in the left hand. Yeah. So about the left hand voicings, now we're there. We can do a few things. If we play diatonic, we can just move in the scale, and some sound better than others. Let's say if we back to D minor and all the white ones. Of course, it depends what you play in your right hand, of course. So let's say if you would go, and this one works because we have the third there. So the ones I like best is the one with the minor third at the bottom or the minor third on top. And then if you have the one with the minor third on the bottom, like, I have very clearly the sixth there. So then it's also nice to use this one. If we have the one with the third on the top. So you could actually practice that the left hand and the right hand always work together, which is anyway a good thing, also in standards or whatever. And so like if you play the 6 in the left hand, use the minor 6 pentatonic or the E minor pentatonic. So. And if we use the one with the 7. Then D minor pentatonic or A minor pentatonic. Yeah, so yeah, definitely patterns can also be diatonic. I was only explaining about actually symmetric movement. So whole steps up, whole steps down, minor thirds up, minor thirds down. It could even be like fourths, maybe fourths up. like science fiction movie to me. But we can definitely always move diatonically. Of course, why not? You can do like. Even like with the. So with the exercise, it's kind of the same thing. Like. Yeah, but I think it's more exciting when you really do this parallel movement, the symmetric movement. The fifth in the bass, yeah, that's McCoy. Yeah, we have to. It's kind of we owe it to McCoy Tyner. So we have the 1 and the 5, and then we go for this chords or like it. Yeah, then you create really this McCoy sound where you get so famous for it. So I think definitely nice recordings to listen to is McCoy with Coltrane, of course, and then yeah, the Love Supreme is amazing. I saw not so long ago. I saw a live recording of the Love Supreme. That was really cool. And but like 2 records he made under his own name, I really advise you to listen to. Is the real McCoy, where actually the first tune Effendi is from. Effendi? No, it's not true. The real McCoy has like this tune, Blues on the Corner, Search for Peace, beautiful ballad, and also this Contemplation, which I did with a few combos last week, because it's super nice to learn by ear. It's not so difficult like this. So check out the real McCoy, and the other one I like is kind of a little bit more mainstream, straight ahead record. But there's the Effendi on. It's called Inception. Yeah, Passion Dance is also on the real McCoy. Cool. So those 2 are my kind of favorites that he made as a leader. And also it was really nice to listen to hear different McCoy. Is one of his oldest recordings, Art Farmer Jazz Tet. And there's one tune, it's called Evelyn, which is like an old Dixieland tune, and he plays incredible people solo. So also to prove that McCoy Tyner also started somewhere. He didn't start with the fourths, and there's there's also always a development and examples that they studied actually. Any questions about this? Other modal tunes, yeah, good question. Now for the D minor, I go for Effendi. So what? Little Sunflower, which also has actually like a D major part, so that's cool. And also one I really like is actually McCoy Tyner is playing that recording. Yes or No, or Yes and No. Some people, there are different titles, but it's a Wayne Shorter tune. I think it's on Juju, I'm not sure. But you have like this kind of, say what I talked about before, you have this modal part and then you have the functional part. So that's really cool. Like you have this sus. And then you get the 2 5s. So that's a really nice one to practice. Yes and no, or yes or no. Yeah, and some other Wayne Shorter tunes. Speak No Evil. And Witch Hunt. From that one, you really have to check out the Herbie Hancock solo. It's amazing. Yeah, Joe Henderson stuff also, like Inner Urge, which is quite tricky tune, but you have definitely this modal part. And some Chicoria stuff, I think, as well. Yeah. Yeah, and also try to modalize some standards. eh? So, like for instance, yeah, softly as in the morning sunrise. Invitation is definitely a good one, and maybe even tunes like were very clear 1, 2, 5, 1, and maybe like if you do. So like kind of inserting some of this parallel stuff we talked about before. Yeah, Alita from Chick Corea, that's definitely also one of my favorites. You have first a lot of chords, and then you have really long modal part. Lita, and it's on the record, Tones for Jones Bones. Really check it out. Talking about patterns. Hey, it's like this. So it's really cool to listen to that recording. That's really perfect example for patterns. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what I know about pentatonics. Yeah, so one more thing, very important, how to apply also pentatonics on different type of chords. We are still talking about minor. So let's see, major, C major, for instance. Major. So on the major from the third, from the sixth, that is the C6. And from the major 7, then you get the sharp 11s. So we have our pattern. That's a really cool sound. It's a little bit more fresh than the 6 or the 6 or from the third. So major, I would suggest the minor pentatonic from the 3, from the 6, and from the major 7. Yeah. So like a dominant, we have different options because, of course, you can have a dominant with a 13 and a 9, or a flat 13 or flat 9. Which one? Yeah. So on the C major from the third, so actually the E minor pentatonic, A minor pentatonic, B minor pentatonic. Okay, so let's say we go to G7. Like so you have to see which minor pentatonic scales fit in this one. I think there are like 3 options. So you can say like a minor pentatonic from the 13. And the D minor 6. And I think that's 2 options. Okay, but if we have like a most interesting one, an altered chord, we have 2 really nice options. So let's say G altered. So from the sharp 9. Yeah. Okay, and then again, talking about the minor 6 pentatonic from the flat 9. So, it's also a little bit like a Ravel kind of sound. So okay, so keep that in mind. On the altered scale, from the sharp 9, the minor 7 pentatonic, and from the flat 9, the -6 pentatonic. And then I'm now arrived at the question of Jan Willem, so half diminished. We can use a similar scale. So let's say we have the D half diminished. Then from the minor third, so F -6 pentatonic. And if you combine that with the -6 on the flat 9 of the altered, you have a perfect sequence. So you have D minor, F -6. G altered, the A flat -6. That's something else. Yeah, so exercise would be to play 2-5-1 in minor using the -6 pentatonics. So on the 2 from the third, and on the dominant, altered dominant from the flat 9, and then maybe on the minor chords, the minor 6 pentatonic from the root, of course. Yeah? So you have like so that works for the 2-5 in minor. Then I have one nice trick that I stole from a video from John Scofield. So like on the major 2-5, we use the minor pentatonics. Wait, I have to explain. So like C minor from the 5th. So G minor pentatonic. Then we go to F7 altered, and we use the one from the sharpener. And if we go to the 1, we use the one on the major 7. And basically it's going chromatic up with the minor pentatonic. So C minor in the left hand, G minor pentatonic in the right hand. Yeah, so exercise I sometimes do is take only the A part of autumn leaves, and use this thing on the major 2-5 and the one I discussed before on the minor 2-5. Any questions? Let's see, what is this? Sorry. So minor 6 pentatonic suggestions over major 7. Yeah, then maybe the A minor, but that sounds maybe a little weird. Could work. So A minor 6 pentatonic over C major sharp 11. Yeah. Oh, the Scofield thing. Yeah. So let's do really slow. It's a really cool thing to practice. So like we go and then altered major, and forget about E flat, and then so let's say on the C minor we play from the 5th, and from the F alters we play from the sharp 9. Diminished from the 3rd with the -6. D altered from the flat 9. G -6 from the root. And so let's say Yeah, so that's a good thing to practice. But if you want to do this at 12 keys, then it will take you some time, I think. Yeah. Nice then. Thanks then. Okay, so maybe we have time for like a last question. And definitely I will put all these patterns, or all love those patterns, on my website, so you can have a free download or practice whatever you like. robvanbavel.com/news. And this session will be available later also on YouTube. So if you have time and you missed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can always look back whenever you like. Okay. That's nice. Positive things. When is the exam? Now, yeah, I hope as soon as possible, but I'm afraid the schools will be closed maybe for a while. Okay. But let's all hope and pray that there will be some improvement soon, and that the normal life comes back. I shouldn't be too depressing. I'm just trying to do this to give positive energy, not to make you depressed. Okay, now hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and have a nice day. Go outside, get some fresh air, keep drinking the ginger tea. And in the weekend, yeah, we have to see. Joy asked if there's a lesson in the weekend. My idea was actually to do Monday till Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, everybody needs some time off to also to think about some stuff or like relax. Maybe. Okay. Religious? Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm just trying to be open for all different opinions. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.